Hi, my name's Gav and welcome to the channel. Look, when Kai Lenny first connected wave after wave on foil, it changed everything. The surf world didn't just take notice, it lost its mind. And me, well, that was the exact moment I got hooked. Because foil surfing isn't just another way to ride waves, it's a completely different sport. Gliding effortlessly, chasing bumps in empty lineups whilst the crowd, well, they fight for the scraps. Once you've tasted that feeling, there's no going back. And here's the kicker, you can get there way faster than I did. In this video, I'm going to give you the shortcuts, all the top tips that will save you months of frustration and get you that addictive, can't wipe the smile off your face glide. So stick around and find out how. Before we do dive in, a quick reminder, this channel supports Bear Cottage, a children's hospice based here in Sydney. Every like and subscribe helps me grow the channel and build a revenue for them. So if you find this useful, then please hit the like button. It really does make a difference. Now, on that note, I want to do a big thank you to the brands that support me on this journey. And that's North, Foil Drive, WSS Boards, the Foil Board Company, Foil Sessions app, and of course, Code Foils. Thank you guys. Without you, I simply couldn't do this. Okay, let's start with gear. I'll use an 80 kilo rider as the baseline, assuming you can already surf or foil. For the board, you're aiming for a 35 to 45 litres. That gives you enough paddle power and stability to get onto waves, but not too big so that you can't duck dive. Later, as you improve, you'll probably downsize for better pump and maneuverability. But to start, that extra volume is your friend. That being said, if you go too big, handling the board becomes problematic. The sweet spot, as I said, is around that 35 to 45 litre mark. For the foil, I'd recommend going something modern, mid to high aspect, somewhere around that 8 to 10 aspect ratio range. I say modern as foils have progressed heaps in the last few years. I look back on the foil that I learnt on, and compared to what's on offer now, well, it's night and day. You want a foil with progressive lift, something that's forgiving, but still efficient enough that you won't outgrow it anytime soon. Now, I've ridden more foils than I can count over the years, and the two that I keep coming back to and recommend to my friends are the Code 980S and 1130S. Yes, I am absolutely biased, but honestly, they're just a perfect fit for it. They've got enough low end to make the learning less painful, but they're not just beginner wings. They pump, they turn, and they glide. It's a match made in heaven for prone foiling. The thing I love is that even though they're perfect for learning, I still use them personally all the time. I haven't outgrown them because they've got so much range. If you're just starting out and you don't want something that's going to hold you back later, I say that these would be definitely worth a serious look. For the mast, start with a 75 to 80 centimetre. Short masts are better in the shallows, they're easier to manage when you're falling, and they are forgiving for those first few awkward sessions. Again, for foil surfing, this is the length that I use to this day, so you won't outgrow it. Here's where the surfers really have to retrain their brains. Forget steep, hollow, punchy waves. For learning, think longboard waves. You want a crumbly, rolling faces that still have a bit of slope to them for your paddle up. Okay, so for the first few sessions, you need to stay away from crowds, and I can't stress this enough. You're going to be awkward, you're going to be falling, and you don't want to endanger others. Find your own peak, or better yet, find an area where other foilers are already riding, but not if they're weaving around surfers. Let's leave them well alone. At the very beginning, a little white water can actually help because it softens the power and it makes getting up onto foil easier too. However, too much white water and it becomes a turbulent chaos. The sweet spot is this like meadow crumble with just enough face to work with. Before you even paddle onto waves, get some time behind a boat or a ski. Learn to manage the foil first, then take it into the surf. The biggest mistake I see is people trying to learn how to foil and take off on a wave at the same time. It's a recipe for weeks of frustration. Trust me, I've been there. Even with a few hours of towing behind a boat, it will pay dividends, I promise you. Now, the dreaded pop-up. Look, this is one of the hardest parts early on because the lift comes on fast and it comes on powerful. Your job is to manage that. Keep your chest further forward than it feels natural, almost exaggerating it. If you don't, the nose will shoot to the moon. You need to arch your back, push your weight forward, and keep that nose pinned until you're stable. Don't let it come up until you're on your feet and you're ready. It's all about control. For hand placement, I like to wrap my fingers around the rails instead of lying them flat, palms down like you would for regular surfing. That grip gives me a finer pitch control as I pop up. And a top tip, don't rush it. Learn to pause for a split second as you rise. Let the foil settle and then stand. If you jump up too early, you're likely to stall and crash. Finally, foot placement is everything. Unlike surfing, when there is some room for error, in foiling, your feet have to be in exactly the right place. Both feet must be on the center line, and your front foot has to be over the center of lift, which is really difficult to find in the beginning. I used tape marks on my board when I was learning, and that gave me this reference point and stopped a lot of swimming sessions. As you get better, you can adjust your feet on the fly, but you won't have the capacity to do that at the start. So work on getting this right from the get-go. Okay, so once you're up, this is where you can expect to make constant micro adjustments with your feet. Use your toes and heels in this shuffling movement to reposition and trim the pitch. It's worth noting that back foot is easier to shift than the front, so work on that first if you need to. Ride higher on the mast than you think you should. If you're breaching, you're close to the right spot. Just bring it down 5 centimeters lower. If you don't know that term, breaching the foil, that is flying so high that the foil leaves the water, loses all lift, and you crash. It's just a part of the process of learning, and it will happen a lot. The sweet spot is narrow, but once you feel it, you'll know. You need to train your brain to find this, and it takes time. There's no shortcuts to this, I'm afraid. And most importantly, use the energy of the wave. Don't outrun it into the flats. Stay on the slope, trim your speed, and let the wave do the work. If you find yourself pumping to keep the foil flying, well, it usually means you're in the wrong part of the wave. This is where prone foiling becomes addictive. The key is in the exit. You've got to leave the wave with speed and stability. You've also got to leave it early. Don't ride the wave all the way to the beach initially. That will come, but pumping out through white water when you have lost all your speed takes real skill. Don't crank a hard turn as soon as you kick out. That just kills your momentum. Instead, peel off more parallel to the beach, hold your height on the mast and carry that speed. From there, you can start your pump gently, small, efficient taps. Think about moving your feet slightly closer together, staying high on the mast. That is critical. And focus on the up part of the pump, not the down pushing. When you spot the next wave, don't cut a sharp angle back onto it. Anticipate it early and then ease down at a shallower angle. When you're learning, soft angles keep your speed and sharp ones kill it. That does change when you get better, but for now, keep those connections drawn out and smooth. So there you have it, foil surfing in a nutshell. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This was probably one of the hardest disciplines that I've learned, harder than downwind sup or indeed power winging. There are just so many moving parts to it, but the payoff is huge. Linking waves, gliding with no crowd around you, feeling the ocean in a completely new way. It's like nothing else. Stick with it, expect some frustration at first, but trust me, it's worth every wipeout. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. And if you want me to dive deeper into things like pumping technique or mast placement, well, just let me know. Please remember to like and subscribe. And until then, I'll see you on the water again soon.